All right, guys, we're going over day 2 notes here. Okay, so this top part's similar to yesterday, and then we're getting to the new stuff down below, putting it all together. All right, first off, we did this yesterday. Our y-intercept is right here. That's where we start every single graph, and our slope is right here, which is our rise over our run. All right, so we use those two things to graph our line. So we go down here, and -3 would be our starting point. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then we would go up 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1. All right, so that's what we did yesterday. Graph in a line. We take our y-intercept, which is also our b in our equation, and we take our m, which is our slope, and we use those two things to create a line. Then once we have our line, we'd like to draw that line all the way through. All right, cool. So today we are going to do when we don't have our slope. So we have to actually calculate our slope. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to label these. The first thing we're going to do is we know that this is x. We know that this is x. And this is y. And we know that this is x. And this is y. All right, so we're going to use those to help us find our slope. All right, so like our formula says, we need to take the y's on the top and subtract them, and we have to put the x's on the bottom and subtract them. All right, so there is a y2 and a y1 and an x2 and a x1. Just think of this as one of the points. Right? That's one of these coordinate points, and this is the other. You just need to make sure whichever point you use first for the y, you use that x first as well. Just like whatever you use first for the second for the y, use that second x. So sometimes I'll even label mine in different colors. So I'll say, okay, I'm going to use my black ones first, and then I'm going to use my red ones, just so I get in the habit of writing them out in the right order. But once you get in the habit of it, it's not too bad. So I'm going to do my y first. So 7 minus, and then I'm going to use my other y, -5. And that's all over. And then since I used this 7 first, I have to use this 4 first. 4 minus -2. Now, obviously, it's more work to switch colors and stuff, guys. But you'll see that the -5 and the -2, they're above each other and below each other. And the 4 and the 7 are above and below each other. All right, so that's how you find slope. So then we go ahead and we do the actual math. Now 7 minus -5 is 7 plus, right? So 2 negatives. If you put that in your calculator, it'll do that for you as well. But 2 negatives make it positive, so that's actually 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's going to be 12. All over 4, and then these both become positives again. 4, 5, 6. Which reduced to 2 over 1. Because 6 goes into 12 twice. All right, cool. So that is finding slope when you guys are given 2 points. So let's try it again over here. We have x, y, x, y. So I'm going to use my y first. That's my 5, then minus -2. So y and then y all over. Since I used this y first, I'm going to use this x first. So -4 minus 7. So we got 5 plus 2, 5, 6, 7. And then -4 minus 7. So that's a bigger negative number. So that's -11. So this is going to have a negative slope of -7 over 11. Okay. We just like to attach the negative with the top number. It doesn't matter which one's negative because the whole line is negative. So I always like whenever I get a negative to put it with the top number. All right. So that is our slope. So now we're going to do something a little different. We're going to teach you guys a new formula next week. That'll be our last new formula. But here's our slope. So now we're going to have to find slope first. And then we're going to have to use one of these 2 points to find these formulas down here, these y equals mx plus b's. All right. And then that's what you guys are going to be doing today. So the first thing we have to do is find our slope. And I put steps right here. It kind of came a little sloppy when it transitioned, but find the slope. So we have xy, xy. So I'm going to do y minus y, so 2 minus 5 over x minus x, so 3 minus 4. Now you go ahead and calculate that. So 2 minus 5, that's going to be a negative 3 all over 3 minus 4, so 3 minus 4 will also be negative 1. Okay, so notice that I now have 2 negatives, right? So 2 negatives make a positive. So this is actually going to be a positive 3 over 1, and 3 divided by 1 is just 3, so a slope of 3. So now we have our slope, and that's what we did up here, guys. The only thing new is now we want to get a formula that shows this, y equals mx plus b. And the biggest issue is we do not have a b. We need to find where that b is. Okay, the good news is we have our m and we have an x and a y. So we can actually take our x, y, and our m and we can plug them into the equation to find b. And that's what we're going to do now. So here's my x and y. Here's my m. I'm going to plug all that in. Okay. So I have y is 2. It doesn't matter which point I use. I just use the smaller numbers. 2 equals 3, because that's my m, times my x is 3 plus b. Okay. So now I just need to solve. 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm going to go down here, guys. 2 equals 9 plus b. Now we're so used to dividing our last step, but this is just subtraction. So subtract 9, subtract 9. And then we're going to get negative 7 equals b. That's a lot of stuff to fit into that one line. But now we have our whole equation. So we actually have our y equals, our m is 3, 3x minus 7. There we go. Okay, and all we did was substitute. We substituted information that we had into a formula to get this. Now, down here, you guys are going to see you're going to practice what we did yesterday. And down here, you're going to practice getting slope. Okay, so you're going to actually use that formula that we used right here. And your IXL today is going to also be using this formula. Next week, we're going to be doing this pretty much the whole week. Okay, using finding and graphing lines. And so there's a lot of steps to one problem. I'll go ahead and do one more with you guys here. We got xy, xy. Okay. So then you got 2 minus negative 3 on the top, which I should see that's going to turn positive. And then we have 3 minus 5, or oops, did I do that wrong? 3 minus negative 3. That's why it's good to color coordinate sometimes. So 3 minus negative 3 on the top, and then 2 minus 5 on the bottom. There we go. So 3 minus negative 3 is 3 plus 3, which is 6, over negative 4. And that's going to reduce to 2 goes into both those. 2 goes into 3 times. 2 goes into 4 twice. All right, so we have our slope. Not a nice number, but still a number we can calculate. All right. and then we're going to use our formula. And I'm again going to use my first point. You can use any point, but those are smaller numbers. So we have our y, this formula right here, y equals m, which is negative 3 over 2, times x, which is 2, plus b. Okay, now we're trying to solve for our b. So this is probably something you guys want to put in your calculator. All right, negative 3. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. So this is going to come out to negative 3. So we'll have 3 equals negative 3 plus b. I hope I did that right in my head. So if I didn't, then you guys will correct me on your calculator. Then I have to bring this 3 to the other side. So plus 3. Plus 3. And you get 6 equals b. And again, this is what we're going to be doing all next week. So now we're going to take this, and we're going to take this, and we're going to put those into our original formula, which I did up here again. It's y equals negative 3 over 2 x plus 6. All right, so that's putting everything we know together. Again, this actually might be a review for some of you guys, depending on what math you were in last year. So what you guys are going to do for the rest of these notes before you submit them, these notes will be worth 10 points because you have some individual work on them, is you need to graph these next 3 lines using your slope and your y-intercept, This one does not have a y-intercept, so I'll already tell you it goes through the origin like we did on day 1. So that should be your first point. Is that origin? And then down here, you're going to practice using slope, using the formula, using this formula right here, y minus y over x minus x. All right, guys, as always, let us know if you have any questions.